Hey guys, Thornton here, back with another video. And over the past month or month and a half, we've taken a look at a lot of different keycap sets, primarily those being pudding keycaps. So today's video, we're going to compare a lot of those different options, being from GSKILL, HyperX, HKGaming, Tecware, a lot of different brands here. Are they different? Are they same? We're talking about those similarities as well as those key differences for you guys, so you make the best decision on which keycap set's going to work for you. For pricing and all these guys, they're going to be on the more budget-friendly side, and I wouldn't let pricing really sway you one way or another, because there's like literally a $5 difference between the cheapest and most expensive, sitting always like right around $20 to $25, depending maybe if there's a deal. It might drop down a bit or be around that $25 mark. So all of them pretty nice and budget friendly, gonna work for most people as far as that price point goes. Where we see a bigger difference though with them is a lot of them, they just stick into that monochrome color scheme of black and white. But we see HKGaming, they venture out a lot more. You'll find colors like pink and orange and red. So if you're someone who has like a more vibrant setup, or you want to venture out to some other colors besides just black and white, you're probably going to want to go with them because they offer a little bit more variety in the way of colors. Moving on to the quality and then also the design of the keycaps themselves, they are very, very similar overall. And the biggest outlier here is going to be these GSKILL ones, because they are using an ABS and a polycarbonate versus the double shot PBT we see in all the rest of them, as well as having a more clear side housing on the GSKILL ones as well. So we're going to kind of just take these out of the equation for right now and compare more of these right here, since they are the most similar, and then we'll also bring these ones into the equation to kind of get the overall comparison. But with all the double shot PBT ones, very similar texture, nice gritty. What's familiar with PBT, if you've felt a keycap before, has that very familiar feel to them, as well as the milky translucent side housing in all of them. There might be a little bit of shading difference between them, but they're so similar. Like when you set these guys side by side, you really do have a hard time telling a difference between which one is which. Very easy to get them mixed up if you had them all laying out together. Besides that though, design-wise, all of them are unbranded besides the HyperX one, which I feel like I brought that up in every single review I've done of putting keycaps so far. They do have their like logo slapped right in the middle of the space bar. So if you're someone who doesn't want like something sticking out like that, like a sore thumb in your setup, then HyperX one's probably not gonna be for you. Whereas with HKGaming and Tecware, they didn't slap their branding right in the middle of the keycap, so it's more neutral and it's not gonna stand out in your setup. One thing that's also uniform across all the double shot PBT ones is they're gonna have that same little bump on back of all the keys where they were broke away from the molding. It's very minute and it's on the backs of the keycaps, so you really basically never see it. I'd just like to point out to you guys in case that might actually be something that bothers you or stand out in your setup, however you might have that set up for yourself. Whereas with the GSKILL ones, instead of breaking away on the back, it's actually towards the bottom of that polycarbonate housing. And I will say it's less noticeable on the GSKILL ones, so if that's something that's gonna bother you with the other ones, the GSKILL might be better for you. On the screen now, you guys are gonna see some keycaps sitting next to each other, some different shots of them. And before I put the names up on the screen, just for yourself, judge if you can see any substantial difference. And then I'll pop those names up so you guys can actually see what their different brands are for each keycap. For me personally, it is very hard to tell anything different. Maybe some very minute details in there, but basically they just look like carbon copies to me. So like trying to say this one's better over the other is really hard. It's more of just bringing it down to like what's gonna work for your setup or what you don't like about a brand or another, but I feel like they're so similar, guys, as far as the feel and the looks of them overall. So I don't think you can go too wrong no matter which of the more double shot PBT, more frosted side housing keycaps you wanna go with. And now this is where the GSKILL keycaps really come into play. As soon as you throw those in there, there's an immediate distinction. And of course, these aren't really aimed at being that more, frosted housing pudding keycap, for they are not like aimed to be pudding keycaps. They're called crystal keycaps for a reason, because they do have that really clear housing around the outside of it. And that's the thing I really love about it. It really does, it's a whole different vibe to the board completely. It really allows for that RGB or those LEDs of your keyboard to shine through the side housings of that keycap way easier, making for just a lot nicer, brighter, and then also more vibrant look, because it's not getting so diffused through the side housings of these other ones. And I just will quickly mention, like sometimes when you're watching reviews on these pudding keycaps, or maybe like the retailer itself, their marketing, those pictures look amazing. It looks like the keyboard, is just absolutely glowing with those colors. But then you slap it on your board and you're like, wait a second, this is not nearly as nice as it looks in the picture, because the RGB or LEDs on your board do have to be super stinking bright to actually completely fill out that translucent housing on the side of these pudding keycaps. So that's the nice thing about the GSKILL ones, even though they're not gonna be like completely glow up diffused like these ones will, even if your keyboard like lights or LEDs aren't super bright, it still allows it to pass right through the side and give you that nice cool look look. So the crystal keycaps, definitely something different than your more traditional pudding keycap, but I think what they offer is super cool, something a little bit different, and I think it will appeal to maybe some other people that wouldn't enjoy the pudding keycaps as much. So kind of just wrapping the video up now and giving my recommendations, or I can't even really say my recommendations because again, kind of going back to that same point, they are very, very similar as far as overall anything. Just take into consideration some of the smaller things, which I'll just recap right now. If you want more color options besides black and white, HKGaming is going to be the place to go. If you don't want branding on your keycaps, HyperX has branding right in the middle of the spacebar. If that's gonna bother you, definitely go with one of the different options. If you want the double shot PBT, all three of these options have it. GSKILL doesn't. They're using ABS and a polycarbonate. If you want the super frosted, diffused side housings, these all offer that. And if you want the more clear, more vibrant, more easy to shine through on your LEDs, GSKILL definitely gives you that more unique look and gonna give you better just lighting shining through versus being so diffused by those frosted housings. But besides that, I don't think you guys will be disappointed no matter which one you go with, because again, they're very, very similar, besides the GSKILL ones offering something a little bit more unique, but again, not like really aimed at being more of your traditional pudding keycap. So that's gonna pretty much wrap the video up for me, guys. Hopefully that did help you narrow it down a little bit, and also just realizing these companies are basically copying each other. I mean, we have like the same materials, the same, pretty much exact same look. So it's just gonna come down to more of those minor things on what's gonna work best for you and your setup. So hope you guys found the video helpful, and if you did, please do hit that like button for me and do consider subscribing, but I'll see you in the next one.